And good morning from Scotty, Ray, and Candace. How are you today?
I'm doing good, and I hope everybody's doing good out there.
Yeah, weekend's over.
It's over. It is. We found a refrigerator, and I know I'm not going to bore y'all with that, but we did find one finally.
What,
Made a decision.
what brand did you get, at least?
I think it's an LG.
I've heard of those.
You know. It was really hard to find something that fit in the space that we needed. So that was the dilemma.
The height, the thing, and
yeah. That was the dilemma, about it, but it's done, thank goodness.
So, what'd you do this weekend? Anything?
That and just basically kind of watched politics all weekend.
Boy, and it has been one.
It has been crazy. It's been crazy. I just watching the news about all the, the
riots.
the rioting and, just watching how the other night when people were leaving the Republican convention, how they were treated. Was
Rand Paul.
That was horrible. I mean, it really was. And it's scary, too, because these people had to walk 2 blocks to a hotel. They said there was no cabs.
Did you know? And it's like that group finds one sentence and they repeat it and scream it over and over.
Over and over, like a broken record.
But Rand Paul, if you watch that video closely, when he leans into that cop and says, if you don't get us out of here, we're not going to get out.
Oh, yeah. I also watched the interview that they had with him and his wife.
Right.
And they said that they really did fear for their lives. I mean, they said that if the police had not been there, there's no doubt they'd have been hurt or killed.
I
because these people have got like such a evil
it's hatred
atmosphere around them. I mean, and it's just they just are constantly bullying people, and I didn't see any of that from the other side when they were having the Democratic convention. I don't see the need and all that. And then today, I was watching Fox, and it was, it was actually not Fox. I'm sorry, I watched it all day, but this was an interview with a senator or something that was at one of the peaceful protests they supposedly were having, and it was a Black Lives Matter person on there.
Right.
And he was saying that they have been trying to have peaceful protests, but then people come in and
that does happen.
Cause chaos. And I do believe that.
'Cause, they over the weekend, there was last week that they caught the bunch in that town that had the gas and all that stuff in the back of the car to cause problems from out of state.
Right. And then, of course, last night, and that's one of our news topics, I think with the stuff that happened in Portland.
Yeah.
With some Trump supporters and stuff. But it's just, I just feel like a lot of this could have been avoided if things would have been, dealt with head on to begin with, So.
When that first brick was thrown, if they'd have stepped up and stopped it, we wouldn't be in this situation.
Right.
Bottom line.
That is the bottom line. It is. And I'm so ready for this to be over with.
We looked it up just a second ago. It's 64 days until the election. Mm-hmm. But we're going to talk more about this here in just a second because I know you've got feelings about it as well. Welcome to make a comment, send us an email, or post it there in the comments. Coming up, we'll take a quick look at your weather. That's right around the corner. We'll be back with some news stories.
During these challenging times, there are some things that you can count on every day. One of them is that Rick Justice Automotive will work hard to help you find just the right vehicle. Rick Justice has late model, low mileage vehicles and 72-month, 72,000-mile warranties available on all vehicles. Come see us today, and we'll show you how we've been helping your friends and relatives find the car, truck, or SUV that was right for them. We will earn your business.
Well, August is quickly coming to a close, and we're going into September, and let's hope over the next week or so that temperatures start to come down and we start feeling some fall stuff as we go into September or October. That'd be great. We'll see. No promises on that. Let's first start out with the National Weather Service is telling us this morning on heat stress as we go over and take a look at this. Today, it'll be to our west, a limited risk. We will hit about 103 in our area, just not quite enough to hit that 105 mark to get this. So nonetheless, it's going to be hot, hot, hot. But the further west you go, and this will drift down all the way toward Texas. We'll look at that in just a second there. As we move to what else they've got to say, storms today should follow a line along Kemper County across through Neshoba and then on across all the way to Bastrop, Louisiana. So that Kemper County line, Newton County right through here is the line. We'll watch that today. Sometimes things change with it being Mother Nature, but that's what is expected at this point. As we roll forward, as you look at that, that's that line right there. This is a marginal, and this is the bigger risk of storms today. So we're well away from anything being serious. That's the good news. But slight risk there, just above us here at that Kemper County line. Storms that are being watched to develop into hurricanes. There are 4 different systems now. Over the next 5 days, you've got 2 that are just starting out here that aren't going to develop in the next couple of days here. As we get down here towards Central America, there's a 70% chance this could develop into something. This will be the one to watch. This last one is going to go up the East Coast, a 60% chance, but it will not make land. It'll just stay out in the water. May give it a little bit of rain out here along that eastern coast, but nothing to worry about. We've got one at this point we're going to watch as it goes towards Central America and see what it develops into. But that's where we are on these major hurricanes. That next week is the big one when storms usually develop, has the most activity for the month of September. We'll see if it has the same track as everything else has been over the last few years. So as we go to take a look at radar this morning, let's pull that up. And I didn't do that right, did I? No, I did not. Let's go back and try that once again. As we look at this, as we said, we've got this heat advisory that starts just around Jackson, Vicksburg area, and goes all the way through Houston. It'll go down to Corpus Christi to the border there at Laredo. A lot of hotness there. We've got showers up in around West Virginia in these areas this morning. Also, Oklahoma City just east of there, Tulsa, Fort Smith, Arkansas. A lot of rain in those areas. And right there is a thunderstorm warning happening there in Oklahoma this morning. In our area right now, not much going on in East Mississippi and West Central Alabama. We turn to our forecast. It's calling for a 40% chance of showers after 1 o'clock this afternoon. As I mentioned, it will be hot, 103 on that heat index side. Tonight down to a 30% chance of rain. Back to tomorrow with a 20% chance of showers. Our high should reach 94, but that heat index will bump 105 tomorrow. So this is just going to get worse there as we look at that as it comes across. By Wednesday and Thursday, just 10% chances of rain. And as we head back toward the weekend, it looks like it'll jump back up to a 40% chance of showers. But we'll focus today on that 40% chance of rain and remind you to extremely watch the heat, as it's going to be 103 today on the heat index side. Tomorrow, even hotter. Watch that today. There'll be a possibility of afternoon showers. We'll have a little bit more coming up here in the next little bit to tell you about. We'll recap the weather and join Candace in just a moment.
Sanders Gas, Sanders Air and Heat is your full-service propane supplier since 1946. We take pride in ensuring reliable, friendly service to our customers. We also provide safety tune-ups related to propane, air conditioning, and heating systems, keeping our communities efficient and safe. I'm Chuck Sanders, and yes, we're local.
And as we start news stories this morning, Candace, Mississippi makes national news for this next story that took place in Newton, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
This guy apparently had killed, or is accused of killing 3 people in Texas.
Yes, and including a soldier from Fort Hood in Texas.
Boy, he's in the Lauderdale County Jail at this point and will be extradited back to Texas at some point.
Yeah. And I don't know what happened with that.
Yeah.
I think it happened at maybe in an apartment or something.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he knew the people. I don't know exactly
Not
what
many
happened.
details were given on that.
It wasn't. But hopefully justice will be served in some kind of way with that.
Yeah, I hope so. As you mentioned, the DNC, the RNC are both over at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And the most money, and I guess at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Trump raised $6 million more than Joe did. Mm-hmm. Now, I've heard back and forth on this. I don't know who's telling the truth of who had the most viewers. I see one thing that says that the DNC had more people watch it, and then I saw another one that had the Republican 8 million more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure about the numbers on all of that either, but I mean, if you did watch the two, there was no comparison. It was so much contrast in the two that one was a lot more positive. That's what I'm gonna say about that.
Yeah, that's a good way to word that.
It really was. One was a lot more upbeat and positive than the other, because and so I mean I could see where he could raise more money.
Yeah.
It was a lot more enthusiastic than the other one, and of course, it's been a lot of name calling, and you know, everybody's called out everything about people not having masks on and stuff like that, which I expected all of that, but it did make it a lot better to watch when there was actual people in the audience. You know.
Yeah, they're standing up there with nobody in front of you. That stuff's really getting old.
And you know, Today they were saying on Fox that Joe Biden was not even there to accept the nomination.
Because
in
of
person.
a COVID scare, he didn't want to be there?
I guess. And
From
so
the basement, he accepted?
Yeah, I think it was, he wasn't even actually at the convention.
Did not know that.
Yeah. So
That's something new to me. Well, this is pretty big deal for if you get an award and you go, whoa, wait a minute, I don't want that after all. J.K. Rowling, of course, she wrote all the Harry Potter stuff, didn't she?
yes. Uh-huh.
All right, she got an award from the Robert F. Kennedy Humane Rights Organization, and now they're calling her, the guy that runs it is calling her a transphobic. Did I say that word right?
Yes.
Anyway, it made her mad, and she's giving them back the award. I don't know much more that I can say about that. I don't understand all that.
Yeah, I don't understand much of it either, but I just, I guess I could understand both sides, you know, if maybe, but I mean, I wouldn't have thought that somebody would have
Jumped on her.
talked bad about somebody that they'd given an award to. That was kind of
you
odd.
wouldn't think
But
it.
anyway, yeah.
All right, as we move to our next story, Massachusetts is stepping up. Of going ahead, and let me fix that where everybody can read that, to where they're activating the National Guard up to 1,000 to be prepared in case something goes wrong with protests and stuff. So let's give a feather in their hat for being prepared.
Right. And I think we're going to see a lot more of this if things don't calm down in a lot more states, because it's just gotten so bad and so out of control. What else do you do?
Well,
You know?
it's starting now to take a turn by what you mentioned a moment ago. They're seeing in the polls that most Americans don't like this.
Yeah, even the Democrats are not liking what's going on.
No.
And it's kind of odd to me that maybe, you know, after the numbers in the polls have changed, that people start kind of saying, oh, we're not going to put up with the violence anymore. But like we said a while ago, they should have said that early on.
They
you know,
sure should have.
They keep condemning, you know, one side for not acting about the coronavirus early on, saying that it was, you know, this was, to me, just as bad, if not worse.
Yeah.
I mean, actual people are being shot in the streets, and this has gotten out of hand.
You think of the people that have been mugged, defunding the police, the people that have been hurt, or maybe didn't get the care that they need. You know, the police show up, they help.
Right. And not saying anything and not doing anything is pretty much saying it's okay, in my book, I think. And if
like I watched a retired cop walking down. They had the video, and I may have brought this up before. He gets beat up by somebody, and 5 people stand there and watch him get beat and don't raise a hand to help.
That's
You're
right.
just as guilty as the person's doing that if you
Right.
don't step up and do the right thing.
If you don't say anything, it stops with you.
Yeah.
It stops with you. And so I've always tried to teach my kids, you know, you stand up for what's right and you do the right thing. And,
Right.
you know, I'm not saying I'm a saint. I'm probably not. I've done some really, you know, things I wasn't proud of. I'm not, you know, perfect. Everybody is not perfect. But you do the right thing when you can. You know, you try to speak up, you know. If anybody knows me, they know I speak my mind.
Would
you know,
Randy
and
Owen
so-
say she's close enough to perfect?
No,
Well,
I'm
that was-
actually, you know, I'm not. I'll be the first one to admit my mistakes and my wrongs, but
Everybody
when
has them.
right? But when it comes to, you know, your livelihood, the country's livelihood, and people's lives, that, you know, all lives do matter, and I don't, you know,
Yeah,
I don't
they do.
care who likes that phrase or don't like that phrase. That's the way I feel, and that's just the way I feel like God feels about things.
He does. It doesn't.
You know.
Skin color is nothing between
That's
God.
exactly
And you know
right.
that as well as I do.
That's right.
And you know, an honest person, when they make a mistake, they learn from that mistake and try to do better the next time.
That's
and,
right.
and that's what we all do, because we all stumble. Sometimes we fall. You get back up and face it.
That's right. And, you know, I ran across this, you know, the serenity prayer. I don't know if you've heard that. You know,
No.
God grant me the serenity
Okay.
to change the things that I can change, the courage, you know,
To accept-
to accept what I can't change, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people just don't know the difference.
No, they
right
don't.
now, because everything's so confusing, and they're so drawn in one way or the other. just by what people say. They don't try to check facts before
Nope.
they just don't jump to conclusions, you know?
Yeah, wait it out, see what
And-
the real truth is.
Right. And we're probably all guilty of that at some point, you know.
Yeah,
but-
we're not perfect by
Right.
any means.
So.
As we go to Baltimore, and this really truly was an abuse of power. There's good
Right.
cops, there's bad cops. This cop, if I'm understanding, reading the story right, he had an addition put onto the back of his house.
Mm-hmm.
Well, whatever happened, he didn't like it, didn't get along with the cop, and the cop wanted his money back, and the contractor wouldn't do it. So he shows up, forces him to get into a vehicle, drives him to the bank, and makes him withdraw everything he paid him and give him his money back. He's
That's
now
crazy.
being charged with kidnapping, all types of different things, of forcing this guy to do that. And there's 3 other cops involved on top of it. That
Yeah.
was a no-no.
Oh, of course, yeah. And I mean, they should go by the same standards as everybody, even if they are the law. So
That's correct. As we look at this, as we go into Louisiana, of course, it is a mess down there. And there's still pictures coming out every day of the damage. Trump did make a visit over the weekend there. The death toll is up to 16 now.
oh goodness,
So we hope there could be more, is what I'm trying to say.
yes.
We all know too well how these storms work, and we're not out of the clear yet this year.
Oh, I can imagine there's a lot more to come. I hate this time of year.
I brought it up in the weather, I think it was Saturday, that September 10th is the day that they say is the worst on average. If you put all these tropical storms and hurricanes together, around September the 10th
Oh, goodness.
is the worst.
That's my son's birthday.
So it's
Goodness.
coming.
Oh my goodness.
So as we look at it, now this is just, oh my gosh, I don't know what to say. Columbus, Georgia is where this went on. A teenager sits and watches police brutality on television and on the internet for pretty much all day. So he finds it that, well, he wants to go kill somebody for what the cops have done. Walks
Right.
into an AutoZone, orders a thermostat, and then stabs the employee multiple times for no reason, because he was white. Just over and over. He's still alive. He hadn't died yet, but he's in critical condition. I mean, the guy's just trying to make a living.
That's awful. I mean, it's horrible. And not only do we see crime committed like that every day or hear of it, I mean, I hear of it all the time now, especially on both sides,
Correct.
because it's not just one color, one race. You know, it's not. It's on both sides. And it's just horrible that people, you know, listen to other people and people add fuel to the fire, and, you know, they just...
And here's an example of that. Portland,
Right.
toward these, and I'm not sure exactly. They're saying that maybe he was a Trump supporter because of a hat that he had on. But anyway, you know, they had the Trump supporters, 600 strong vehicles go through there with a parade. He was shot, killed.
They had the mayor on today. He did a press conference I was telling you about for Portland. And, of course, today he says...
Well, that was yesterday, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, yesterday. But he said that it was, you know, they were tired of violence. They're not putting up with violence anymore. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. If you do not obey the law, you're going to jail.
That should have been said to begin with.
Exactly right. It should have been said to begin with. And I think there was some things said about him that Trump tweeted on Twitter, you know.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, he starts the whole press conference out in a positive note, saying they're not going to put up with, you know, the violence anymore. And then he has to slip in there that Trump, they're tired of Trump. They've had 4 years of Trump being a racist and all this stuff, you know. All of that could have been just left out of there.
It could have been.
Because you're sitting there, you're trying to tell people we're
Bring the
tired of
people together.
violence, bring everybody together, you know, do a restart is what he said. We're kind of reset the country, reset their state, reset their city. Everybody do a reset, and that'd be great if everybody could, because
It would be.
because a lot of people probably said and done a lot of things that they regret.
But, you know, has it gone too far?
But right, it's like trying to put out a fire with gas.
Yeah, it don't work.
Why do you do that? You know,
Yeah.
and a lot of people just stir the pot.
But, you know, in Portland, you go back, they pulled out of a police station and let them burn it. That is like giving up your castle.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to, I love, you know, that the country has, to me, has gotten better since Trump's went into office, I'm just going to say. But he does, I believe, you know, he needs to watch what he says.
Oh, you know, he even
On
said in
Twitter.
the other day that,
wherever.
yeah, there are tweets that I regret that I done.
Yeah. And so, I mean, there comes a time when, there's a time and a place for everything. And to me, if the mayor had something to say to Donald Trump or Donald Trump had something to say to the mayor, there's a phone, okay? Make a phone call. Because the mayor said he's never met the man before.
But a phone call doesn't make headlines.
I understand that.
That's at the
I
end of the day.
understand, but when you're trying to get everybody to come together and you're trying to change things, you can't change if you keep pulling the scab off the wound,
All right.
Nothing's going to get better.
As we look at this next one, and I am still embarrassed. I am not lying to you. After I looked this up, I've never heard of Cardi B until last Saturday night.
Uh-huh.
Angie was telling me, she goes, have you seen this with this lady that is a Joe Biden supporter? And I said, no. She goes, oh my gosh. She goes, I can't even tell you about it. I said, what? She said, she's got this awful song that the language, she goes, I can't even say one word of it to you. And I thought, oh, sure. Oh my gosh. I looked it up. I'm blushing. I don't know if you see it, but it's bad.
I haven't seen it, but I have seen a part of a video because, a while back, not long ago, he had an interview with her. They did an interview, and everything was, just, I guess it was kind of like a virtual type thing, not in person or anything. But they showed snippets, I guess, of her videos, and she's like, not even half dressed.
Look, Candace, let me tell you, if you've got a mama or a daddy, how she could put on record what she did.
Yeah.
Oh my heavens.
Okay.
I mean,
that's all we need.
That's like.
Yeah.
You remember the
Why
thing?
would you want to associate with that?
It's like getting on the Hell Express or something.
Yeah.
I mean, oh Lord.
I guess people think when they do associate with stuff like that, they're trying to reach voters, maybe, or something.
Oh,
Do
no,
you
that
think well, who
that ain't
knows?
what she was trying to
He
reach
might
with that
sit-
one.
He might sit around and watch stuff like that. Who knows? I don't know, but
Well, I guess it does go into that hugging and cuddling thing.
yeah. I guess.
Speaking of that, Trump is headed off to Wisconsin. They have asked for help. The National Guard has been called up, so maybe this is a step with that city to stop this before it gets out of hand any worse.
Right.
So he's going, and you can bet your bottom dollar that when the Secret Service goes through there to clean up the streets wherever he's going to walk, they ain't going to do it nicely. They're going to clear the street because it's the president.
Yeah, they need
they
to.
complained last time when they cleaned the park out across the street, when he walked to the church. They come in and clean the street, y'all. I'm telling you.
Look, it was like we were talking the other night when watching after the Republican convention. Why did they not have those 2 blocks they knew these people had to walk? I mean, they didn't have them blocked off.
I know. That should have been secured.
It should have been secured because it's just amazing that nobody did get hurt. The police were even being pushed and stuff, you know, with their bikes. And
he was holding the bike up trying to keep the people off.
Right.
And, and that lady that was attacked in Washington, SC8, where they wanted her to do the power sign, she did an interview, and she goes, I'm not giving in to somebody else's demands when I don't believe in it.
Right. I wouldn't either.
No.
I'm not about to give in. If I say, I don't give in to my kids, I don't give in to anybody. If I believe something is right, I don't. And, I've told them, my little one, he'll whine every night. I'm like, you know what? I don't do that. You're not getting anywhere with me. But I just, stand your ground.
And as a mom, you probably can relate to this. This lady, and I can't remember, it was in front of a gas station or what, it was in Georgia. She's getting out. These 2 people jump out of her car and try to take her kid away from her. She fights with him. She rips his shirt off. She rips his shoes off, takes his gun away from him and shoots at him. They still get her kid, and she misses when she shoots. The good news is that they did catch him like 2 or 3 hours later, and the baby was returned,
thank goodness,
unharmed.
Yes.
But she put up a fight.
Oh,
I'm here to tell you.
I would too. Don't take my, don't try to take one of my kids.
But after all that, I hate that she didn't stop him. But it did still have a good ending to the story before it was all said and done.
That's
But
right.
that woman was.
Look, mine could be grown, and you try to mess with them, and I'm like, big old mama bear.
All I'm hearing is, Loretta Lynn, you ain't woman enough to take my man.
That's right.
Or
my child.
I'm just throwing that in there. You wouldn't scrap, would you?
Look.
Is he worth scrapping over?
Yeah, he's worth everything to me. Yes, he's a good man.
Have you ever seen one of those?
What?
What 2 women fight over a man?
Look, we don't need to go there because I do have a past.
I remember when I was a
We
teenager.
back it up to, I've done things I'm not proud of. No.
But I did see that when I was a teenager one time with 2
I'm
girls.
kind of like, look, I could see some Carrie Underwood video coming out in me. Okay, everybody, people that look. I would like to say I've grown out of that kind of stuff, but when I was younger, yeah, I would.
I did one time also see a guy who was like the foreman, and he was dating 2 different women. Oh boy, that was bad. That was bad.
Yeah, I kind of don't put up with much.
I can tell. I'm just pointing things out. As we move to our next story, Ole Miss USM players boycott practice. This happened last Friday. Let me just go ahead and flip to the next story. USA Today reported all that. Drew Brees, they put the Blake guy across all the helmets at their spring training camp. It has gotten to where sports has turned into the biggest political. You can't even watch ESPN without them being political.
Yeah.
Sports is supposed to be a getaway for people to where you're not worried about the worries. You sit down to watch a ball game.
Yeah, and I kind of wonder, like, if you sat every one of them down and said, "Tell me about this. Tell me about this," half of them probably wouldn't even know.
No, they're doing it because
that much
everybody
about
else
it.
is.
Yeah, right. I'm not saying
You're not saying that for the whole group.
Right. I'm not saying that for everybody, but I just think that a lot of times people do stuff like that for ratings.
But ratings are a large part of it. And then Drew Brees is trying to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Is it suck up? Is that what?
Saving face.
Something to that effect. He stood up for the flag, backed down folded like a paper towel, like we talked before, changed his whole theory. But again, sports is sports. Politics is politics. Leave it out.
Well, look at all the music groups who have changed names or.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is so ridiculous.
Yeah. Lady Who, the Dixie Chicks, who cares about the Dixie Chicks? I have learned I can do without all sports now. I ain't got to have it. I really don't.
What are you accomplishing when
Not
you're
a thing.
changing your name from Lady Antebellum? That's crazy.
And their lawsuit's still going on, I guess, over the Lady A thing. So that's sort of what's going on with the news there.
Yeah.
Now this was interesting. I would not have thought this. I would have thought it'd been something bigger. Twitter's most liked tweet in history is this gentleman that just passed away. I had never heard of him. I'd never seen any of these movies, but they say they were good.
Yeah, I had heard they were really good movies, and he portrayed some icons of the past and did a really good job, they said. But he had passed away from colon cancer, and I think he was
43.
43, yeah.
And his
43
family
years old.
posted that tweet that he had passed away, and it is the most liked ever in the history of Twitter. So I thought
That's
you might want to know
sad.
that it is. This is coming up on the ballot. For Congress is going to be deciding this. Marijuana, I think that's the way to word it.
Right.
Now, from what I understand, this is not an issue of whether it's legal or not legal. What they're going to do is change whether it's a controlled substance or not. And most likely, I can see this probably going away as a controlled substance now.
Yeah. I guess, just like beer. It would be like
a misdemeanor of
Right.
something.
I mean, I don't think you could, even if they did legalize it, you're not supposed to smoke it and go get behind the wheel of a car, obviously, I'm sure.
Right.
But, and I don't do that. I've never done that.
Me either.
I don't agree with it, but I have seen where people have used medical marijuana.
And it's helpful
And
in
it's
those.
helpful in some situations. But, so I don't know if that's for medical purposes or for,
Just in general. But, if they take that off as a controlled substance, and I mentioned this to you a while ago, would that mean that everybody that's in jail right now for crime with that, wouldn't they be let free?
I don't see how they possibly could hold them unless they had another kind of charge, but I'm not sure, so.
And this goes back to where, you remember the 3 strikes you're out back, was that in the 80s or the 90s that was passed, where it didn't matter what you done, if you got a third time you went to prison?
I
So-
guess so. I don't know.
A lot of folks on that.
Yeah, there was a guy that I think he got his 3rd or 4th DUI when I had moved out. It was a neighbor or something me and this girl were renting a trailer or something when we were 17, 18 years old. There was a guy next door. I mean, he would stumble up the steps all the time. And he got his 3rd or 4th DUI, and he was
Right on to
shipped
the
off.
pokey.
He was gone.
Yeah,
So,
they didn't think twice about that.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's, so is that changed now?
No, it's
is it-
3
okay.
DUIs. I think you go. But
Yeah.
back then it didn't matter what the crime was. That 3rd strike, if you
Yeah.
didn't, you went on.
Okay.
So a lot of things have changed on that. I think Joe Biden was a part of that back in the day,
Oh, really?
if I remember correctly. It's been a long time ago.
Well, I'm anxious to see what's going on with this. See,
It's coming.
so I guess because a lot of people moved to Colorado, didn't they?
Yeah, now, and
They legalized it there.
Mississippi is going to be voting on this to whether to have medical marijuana in the state, and because that's big business now.
Oh, there was people who moved from here up to Colorado. I had heard, to work at the farms that they had and stuff up there. Of course, I don't know if they were. I don't know for what purpose. If it was medical,
Which case
that
it
they
was.
sold it for medical purposes or what. But
There's a lot of folks invested in that.
Yes.
Well, we'd like to thank you for stopping by. Coming up, we'll recap the weather, and thanks for spending a little time with Scotty Ray and Candace this morning.
thank you.
Well, Freeman Tractor out on Highway 494, you take a left there at the fire station there off 19. It'll lead you to the front doors. As you know, in Mississippi, grass cutting season kind of extends on. And if your lawnmower ain't going to make it to, well, let's see, Thanksgiving or Christmas, you might want to upgrade before the end of grass season. They got plenty to choose from Skaggs and, of course, Exmark. Some great lawnmowers that'll be with you for years to come. And drop by and see them. They'll help you out and pick you out one that'll last for you. Of course, tractors to choose from as we get near that time of needing a bush hog. It's here. I'm already seeing everybody breaking up, getting ready here in September. They've got them four-wheel drive, two-wheel drives, whichever the case, with all the implements. Maybe you've just got a disc that's not going to make it anymore. Well, they got new ones to hook you up with, bush hogs, 5 foot, 6 foot, any size that you may be needing. Also, as we go into these winter months, if you're needing a workhorse, a UTV, the Benchy, 0% for 60 months. And I've mentioned this before, you can order this with the heat and air conditioner and quit freezing to death or sweating during the summer months. A lot. This comes standard with your windshield wipers, your headlight turn signals, the LED bar comes with a winch, all types of things with doors and all. See them today. Freeman Tractor. They'll help you pick out the particular model that you're looking for. These are the different sizes, styles that they've got. They come with GPS. You can get them with radio. You name it, they come with it. Pick the color that you're looking for. And again, 0% for 60 months. Freeman Tractor is where you need to go to find that next UTV waiting for you. Drop in. They'll help you out any way they can to get you well taken care of. Well, as we recap weather, again, today it's just going to be another warm one for us here in Mississippi. As we look for a 40% chance of showers this afternoon after, let's say, 1 or 2 o'clock. We'll have sunshine. Otherwise, heat index 103. That temp will reach 92 tomorrow, be even higher. We'll hit about 105 tomorrow, but we'll watch it this afternoon as things heat up. It's going to be warm, so keep plenty of drinks if you're going to be on the outside. The real heat index goes west of us, but 103 is nothing to be shabby about. That's what we've got in store for us. Looks like we'll have a little break there about Wednesday and Thursday, and then rain chances will come back up on Friday. So that's what we've got in store. Don't forget that afternoon shower. All that's coming up this week, so watch it. Be careful with this stuff, and we'll watch those disturbances out in the Atlantic to see what becomes of those.
Scotty Ray's Weather is brought to you by
And again, I'd like to thank you for taking the time out and watching this morning with me and Candace. We'll be back with more updates. Should the weather turn bad, we'll give you street-by-street coverage right up to your doorstep to take care of you. Again, thank you for watching. Like, share, and tell a friend.